Good morning, Mindy. How are you?
Good morning.
We're so glad to have you here. Just share with the congregation and the audience from around the country just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into a few questions and just talk about how God has blessed your life and taken you through some things.
Oh, where to begin? I'm a mom of 5 kids, grandmother to 4, serial entrepreneur. I started my first business when I was 18 and my first nonprofit when I was 21. I spent almost 20 years working in child abuse prevention with domestic violence victims, with the most vulnerable of our community. And then, of course, have continued on with entrepreneurial endeavors ever since.
Oh, wow. And so in the midst of your entrepreneurialism, you had some challenges with assault and attacks on your family. Tell our congregation a little bit about that.
You know, I got into child abuse prevention because my stepson, who I've raised since he was 2, he is my son, witnessed 2 shootings at the age of 3. And I spent my life trying to help kids. And in 2010, my oldest daughter got into a relationship with a young man who then, over the course of 4.5 years, sexually assaulted 3 of my 4 daughters, including her. She was a victim of domestic violence with him for most of that time. Their child is my granddaughter, Sophia, who wanted to be here today in her pretty little dress, but I couldn't wake her up. The first assault happened when daughter number 2 was 16, and the police didn't believe her. The forensic interviewers didn't believe her. Fast forward to 2 years ago, he then did the same thing to daughter number 3, while daughter number 1 had been a victim of domestic violence and assaults from him continually. And it culminated with a year ago this week. He assaulted my oldest daughter for hours and smashed her cell phone. She heard him ask his cousin on the phone to bring a gun. And so she got a hold of her work phone and was able to call 911. They responded very quickly. Blessed to live in North Kansas City with a 30 to 60 second response time. We got a phone call, report to your daughter's home. We had no idea what we were going to find. In this time, I had started 3 businesses. I had lost my job. We moved. We found out the house we moved into that we were renting was in foreclosure. And God provided, and we were able to buy the home. Believe it or not, we made an offer to the mortgage company, and they came back with a counteroffer for $4,000 less. That doesn't happen.
Right.
That was God. But it was heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing your daughters go through something that you've spent your entire life helping other people through. Yeah. And my daughters knew. They knew what signs to look for. They knew. I knew. And sometimes you don't have control.
Wow. And so through the midst of all of that, what gave you the strength to not give up, to not check out, to not throw in the towel?
The first time I met this young man, I looked at my husband and I said, this isn't going to be good. I knew the first time I saw him. And after the first attack, I went to church and I sat in a pew, and it was like every song that was sang was for me. And I remember praying, God, I don't know why you have me on this path. I've never known why you've had me on this path. Please just give me peace to weather whatever it is. And the only thing that I can say is peace was granted.
Yeah.
4.5 years. And while my daughters were fighting with each other because they didn't believe each other and they were in pain. I mean, they were hurt at the most DNA level. And God still granted me peace.
Wow. I tell you, a lot of people don't understand how important it is to go to church, because it was at a time in your life when a lot of people decide, I'm going to go drink, I'm going to go to the casino, I'm going to go somewhere, but you went to church, and that's where you found some peace and some direction.
And you know, people at church didn't really, even today, they're probably hearing about it through your live stream for the first time. People that I did business with, they had no idea. How do you burden somebody with the fact that 3 out of 4 girls had been assaulted by the same person? How does that happen?
Yeah.
And I had to go to church. There wasn't a choice. It was, if I trusted God with all the great things in life, how do I not trust him with the most deepest, darkest moments?
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So now, fast forward, how's your daughters now, and what are some future plans for your life and your businesses?
You know, daughter number 2 finally has the knowledge that people believe her. She knows that she didn't make it up, and she was so alone and so abandoned, not just by what she thought, her family, but the community. Everybody thought because the police didn't believe her. So she has vindication that she told the truth, and she was the first one to do that. My oldest daughter is doing really well. She has a new apartment because she couldn't stay where they had lived prior, so she had to let that go, and there was legal repercussions of that. And so she has a new apartment. She has a job and a car paid off, and doing really well. Still has moments of post-traumatic stress. Daughter number 3, who's really the one that was able to get him, by the way, he's in jail. He's in prison. Daughter number 3 was the one that was able to make that happen. And she is at college at Graceland University.
Oh, great.
It was a God moment there too, because she called me from Dallas and said, "Mom, why didn't I go to college?" And I said, "Well, that really wasn't something you were ready for." And she said, "I want to go." So I called up to Graceland and got a hold of a counselor that had been a counselor for victims. And in 3.5 hours, she had walked the campus, got special signatures to get her as a late ad, and she went to college.
That is so great.
And business, I let one of my businesses go. Tough decision on that because I poured my heart and soul into it for 3 years. But my other businesses, the Central Foundations for Business, has flourished and is growing, and I get the pleasure of helping entrepreneurs reach their hopes, goals, and dreams every day.
That's great. Thank you for being here, Mindy. Give the Lord a worship for Mindy Hart. Thank you. God bless you.